What is up, everybody? Welcome back here to another episode of Dolphins versus the World. And as always, shout out to our producer, Joel, for that awesome new intro. I did not know that was coming. That was awesome. And with me, as always, for his playoff edition is my co-host, Anthony. Anthony, first off, what are your thoughts on that intro?
First off, I came in a little late. I don't know if you guys had discussed it beforehand, with like you and Joel, but I'm used to sitting there and it's and I was like sitting there just waiting for it to come on, preparing myself, hydrating, and all of a sudden like that new one played, and I was like, what is this? So I messaged in the chat, and you and I were both like, oh my God, it scared the crap out of me. Like just that. And then we were on it. A really cool intro, Joel. I've yet to see that. That's like my live reaction. I've yet to see it. Didn't know. That's awesome. So yeah, that's really cool.
Awesome. Drop a like, comment if you liked it. Subscribe, please keep growing the channel. Anything is appreciated. Just click the like button. Simple as that. You can do it. Takes a couple seconds. We appreciate your time for just checking out the video even, but means a lot. And yeah, so we will get into it here. Before we kind of talk about the game and the playoffs, kind of just want to go around the league real quick with all the coaching news. And I will say, this is rare times. Normally we're here debating a new coach or this and that as Dolphins fans, but I think the main thing I kind of just want to talk about, obviously, is Belichick retiring. Not retiring, excuse me. I was thinking of Nick Saban there, but he'll probably be on a different team. We'll see where. That's up in the open. I haven't seen any him being interviewed or anything yet. But the Patriots hired Gerard Mayo, internal candidate. I kind of just want your quick thoughts on it. As someone looking from the outside, I'm not too crazy about it. I don't think it's the right move for them. This was a plan. They clearly have this plan, so they're a big fan of his, obviously. But I don't know. With a candidate like Mike Vrabel out there, I thought that'd be a no-brainer for the Patriots. But I'm happy as a Dolphins fan they got him. I don't know what the Patriots are going to do. I mean, this guy, does he have, besides former players, he's only been in the organization. He doesn't have any real connections. I would assume that they're going to stick with Bill O'Brien as their OC, and that doesn't make me crazy. I feel bad for whoever they're going to be drafting at quarterback. I think this could be sort of a transitional period for them. We'll see if it works out with Mayo, but my early reaction is just bad move by the Patriots. Don't think they got the right candidate.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know anything about him as a coach. There was rumors that this was the plan all along. Yeah. But there was rumors that this was the plan all along. I thought, like you, for sure, with Mike Vrabel, that was a no-brainer because Mike Vrabel, to me, is the only successful, Belichick from that kind of – it's not from that coaching tree, but that mindset. And I thought that was just a match made in heaven, and – I think more so than anything, it's not that because Gerard Mayo, if he comes out in 5 years and he's a phenomenal coach, then we'll say it's a good choice. I just think that with the certainty of what Mike Vrabel is, Robert Kraft's that, he's getting older and older. I thought it just made a lot more sense. But the reality with the Patriots, and this is just taking my Dolphin fan hat off. If I was a Patriot fan, I understand the coaching issues that was going on with Bill Belichick, but to me, the main thing, if they want to fix what's going on down there, is the personnel management, and that's just been a disaster. And we've seen here how even with a coach that was really toxic, and now a coach that the jury's out on just his game management. When you have a good quarterback, not necessarily you don't have to have a top 5 quarterback, but when you have a good quarterback, that fixes a lot. And so, with Gerard Mayo, if there was anything I would say to Patriots fans is, hopefully to get on the right path, number one, this draft's going to be huge. I think they have the 3rd pick. To me, I think any team that drafts Caleb Williams is making a significant mistake if you're drafting him like number 1, number 2, number 3 overall. I think there's easily 2 or 3 quarterbacks that I would pick over him. But getting the quarterback right is going to be huge. And then, I always have hesitancies with defensive coaches just because there's no consistency on the offense. So we'll see. I agree as a Dolphin fan, at least looking at it right now, I am happy because say what you want about Bill Belichick, but he was a pain in the ass he's been a fan since I've been watching. He started coaching right around when I was born, the Patriots, which is crazy to say. But yeah, just, we'll see what goes on from here with that team, but certainly it's going to be weird next year not seeing sweatshirt and hoodie over on that sideline.
It definitely will be. And then, the other coaches are kind of shaken out. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, boy, it feels like not just in with the Patriots, but it seems like just a lot of coaches that you felt like were mainstays in the NFL are and in football in general with Saban as well. Just moving on. Yeah, Pete Carroll retiring too. Like you always figured that's coming. He's obviously up there in age, but just a shock, really. Truthfully, one of my favorite coaches personally, awesome dude. But yeah. So we'll that's our thoughts on that, and then we will get to the game. And I kind of want to talk about not only the game itself, but sort of what you would like to see as not just for the game as a Dolphins fan who's been watching this team the majority of your life or whole life. Like what do you want to see from this team, like from this organization, not only in this game, but sort of what to build off this year, what you make of it. And we'll talk more about that again after this season's over. But just kind of your thoughts, what you want to do and see. But I think when you're talking about this game, the main topic of discussion has to be the weather. And it's going to be brutal. I keep seeing notifications from people just like ticket prices dropping in the Dolphins game, ticket price dropping. Like this is going to be, I think I saw at one point it's projected to be the 3rd coldest game ever in NFL history. And that's just crazy. And not to, get upset for a minute, but easily avoidable. You had every chance and more to not be, worried about getting frostbite if you're on that Dolphins sideline. But here we are, and you got to deal with it. Both teams are going to be dealing with the cold, but I think it's going to be a big time mental factor. Like I think in games like this where there's just extreme circumstances, it's mental. Like that's as much of the actual game itself. Like who can not outlast the person, but who's like not going to be like if you're thinking the whole time like God, it's so cold, it's going to take you off your game, and you got to just stay focused. Like that's why I think this game is so interesting. And as we'll talk about more, like I think this is going to be a very ugly game. And
I agree.
Yeah, this is not something I'm glad I won't be there. Let me tell you, I was thinking about it too. Like I was like, like I could get there. I don't have work Monday. Could get there, why not be at a historic event? But I know myself, and as soon as I decided I'd be there, I'd step out of the car and be like, this was the worst decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah, I can't think of anything I'd rather do less than go to this game. It's just like an ugly game in general. Like the weather, 2 teams that have kind of just like been like especially of late. It's only on Peacock, which is like, well, whose decision was that? Like if you're gonna put it on a streaming service, I get Amazon, Netflix or something like, but Peacock, I'm like, okay. I mean, we have it, but
yeah,
nonetheless,
yeah, it's weird.
But the weather, it's getting to the point where it's hard to talk about the weather in this game because everyone will think that as a Dolphin fan, you're complaining because you are jealous or nervous for your team. Let me just say this. It pisses me off to see how willing people are to play in this weather and go to this type of weather. But God forbid the sun is out on a September day in Miami. It's like the end of the world. And to me, like, I don't think people truly understand that, like, I put out a tweet today, and I'll share what it says. Essentially, like playing in 10-degree weather. Okay, you got me there. That's an advantage, Chiefs. It is not advantageous to any human being in that stadium that it is going to be -30. Human beings are not designed and built to not only be in that weather for that long of time, but to be playing football in general and playing in that weather. It is so horrible for your muscles, for your joints. I understand they'll have stuff on the sideline to keep them warm, but like that football is going to feel like a brick. Okay. The ground, and even though thank God it's not turf, because turf would be even worse because it's slippery, the ground is going to be like concrete. It takes one wrong hit of your head, and not only are you probably going to get a concussion, but it's going to be severe because it's going to be way harder than normal. It's so dangerous to be playing in that. And that's why, to me, like, look, if this game was 10, 15 degrees, 100% it's advantage Chiefs, 100%, because like, just like when people come down to play in Miami, it's an advantage for us. Stop whining about it, Buffalo Bills fans. It's an advantage. You didn't care about it when you were whooping our ass, but now that we beat you one time down here, it was an issue. That's an advantage for us. The cold is an advantage for them. -30 wind chill, that's not an advantage to anyone. And it's shocking to me that this game is being played, because I just think that, like, not for a football standpoint, I think just it's so unsafe for fans, for coaches, because, like, think about this. The fans, to me, is who I'm more worried about, because players, again, they have the warming sheets, they have heaters. Fans have nothing. And I understand, yeah, it's their decision to go out there. Oh, okay, their team is in the playoffs. Like, of course they're going to go to the game. You can't knock them and be like, oh, well, you're going to freeze. That's your choice. Like, no, like, this game should not be happening. I'm just going to say that. I don't care if people are going to be like, he's soft. Like, I don't care. This game should not be happening from a health standpoint. Literally, the National Weather Advisory came out and said it's dangerous to be outside during the day and during the night. And I will use this as a prime example of why every single stadium, these owners are making $400, $500, $600 million a year, a season off these teams. It is inexcusable to me that every single stadium does not have the option to be a dome. Every single stadium should have an option, like we saw in the Germany stadium, to cover up if need be. And the fact that they don't is a health hazard, but I'm not shocked, because we're talking about owners that make millions and won't even spend $150,000 on real grass. So, I'm arguing with the wall here, but yeah, it's just, I'm more worried about the weather for everyone, more so the fans, but the players in general for both teams, not just the Dolphins.
Yeah. So two things. And I agree. Like, anyone who says this is an advantage for the Chiefs is a crazy person. Like I said, this is the third coldest game in NFL history.
Yeah.
Like, Chiefs aren't playing in minus, 15 degrees every week. Like, this is circumstances that they have never been in either. Like, it is going to be, it's historically cold. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, both teams are going to be suffering. Both teams are going to be miserable. Like you said, if it was, 32 degrees, I would say, yeah, definitely an advantage for the Chiefs. They're used to it. They don't live in South Florida. Like, they have to go outside every day. But this is just like to another level where both teams are not used to this. And it's going to be horrible. And then the other thing, it's just funny to me that it's in Buffalo too, it's going to be a winter storm warning, terrible weather. And there was like a moment where someone put out like they may be considering moving the game. And then they came out like, no, we're not moving the game. No chance we're moving the game. Like, yeah, you're not going to move the game for that, but yet you want to complain till the end of time that the sun is out in Miami during September. Like, the double standard is just hilarious to me. Like, if you want us to go up to Buffalo and play in the cold, or we got to go to Green Bay, whatever, play in the cold, then hell yeah, you have to come down here and play when the sun's out. Like, sorry, that's just how it is. I totally agree with you that every game should be like in a neutral circumstance, in a dome, in a perfect world. That's what it should be, because it eliminates stuff like this and you get a more accurate sense of who's better and everything. But that's never going to happen. And I have no issue with going up to Buffalo and playing in the cold. But then every game the Bills should come to Miami should be played in September, early September, in my opinion.
Right.
That's just how it is. I think.
Or
No,
or do it like they did this year, where it's like neither team is going to get an advantage. We played in Buffalo, and
it's still.
I know. I don't. For these players, realistically, if it's anything 30 degrees and over, I mean, you're getting paid millions of dollars at a certain point. It's like, okay. So I don't care about that. To me, rain is worse, sleet is worse, and then that's it. So like, if you go up to Buffalo and it was what was it when we played in Buffalo? It was like week 5. So it was like, I don't even know. It was probably like 60 degrees, but you either have to do that or do the other and don't complain. But from a player safety standpoint, as far as risk of injury, it is much worse to be playing in the negative 30 than an 85, 90 degree humidity day.
And that's another thing too. Like we have a lot of guys who are clearly banged up and playing with injuries, and then with the cold too, like the muscle tightness and everything. Like this is just going to be like, I don't know how the only way I'm looking at this game, honestly, like it has to be like an ugly, simple game with the weather. Like I can't even look at the matchups and be like, well, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Because like, how can you, when you don't know how these guys are going to react? Like, and you'll get a sense for the cold when it's warm-ups, and then you see whoever's out, who's going to be shirtless. Like if Jalen Phelps was playing, he would be out there, no shirt, warming up for whatever reason, which blows my mind. Like I don't get why these guys like just bring the sleeves and the gloves. Like if you don't want to wear them to start, no problem. But like if you're miserable, then put them on, which you're going to be miserable. Like I remember watching like Ray Lewis just be like, no one's wearing like sleeves. We're all suffering together. And like, that's awesome. Like, and that puts you in the mindset, but like, you got to be in the mindset anyways, even with sleeves. Like they're not going to help.
Yeah. This game is going to be interesting. We'll talk about it as we get into a little more of the game plan for the team and stuff like that. But overall, I think there's the mindset that because the Dolphins have so much speed, that the cold weather is going to be a disadvantage more for them than the Chiefs because of their lack of talent, in my opinion. And that's the I don't watch Dolphins football view. If you actually know what you're talking about and you watch Dolphins football and you watch this podcast or other podcasts, you know that the Dolphins offense, really, the issue to it is that we don't run the football enough. That's the issue with the Dolphins offense right now. Now, in the passing game, it's gotten very predictable, and we'll talk about that. But the reality is, in my humble opinion, the weather, if there's a positive at all, it's that it should just be another constant reminder to Mike McDaniel that whether it's before this past week or on game day, to run the damn football. Because to me, when this Dolphins offense is at its best, it's not when you're just letting Tyreek Hill and Jalen on the loose. It's not. Maybe it is against the Commanders. Maybe it is against teams that have no idea what to do defensively and they have bad coaching and players. But when now you're in the playoffs, you're with the big boys, and in order for you to go out there and win consistently in the playoffs, you're going to have to run the football. So that's the only like positive I could think about, is that the weather should. Okay. Yeah.
That's about it.
What?
It's not going to be. That's the only positive I can take from this. But I agree with you. Like the way this weather is, it's going to force him to run the ball. Like it should. Too. It should. But you never know. But yeah, one would think like when you're looking at this, like even if you have no football, not like you have a basic football knowledge, I think everyone knows like when it's colder and when it's raining, like you want to run the football more. It's safer. I mean, this is just going to be like as low scoring, in my opinion, as ugly as it gets. Like even without the elements, when we played them in Germany, it was a sloppy game. Like the Dolphins in the first half were sloppy, then the Chiefs in the second half were sloppy. Like,
let me just say this real quick, and this is a theory that I have that I think is it's interesting in my opinion. I don't think it's a coincidence that the two best games we've played against Buffalo with Mike McDaniel came when we had to play in the cold. I don't think that's coincidence. I think that is because, number one, the first one you played in Buffalo was freezing cold. We were getting ice thrown at us by Bills fans. Hey, thanks. Same ones that are complaining, God forbid the sun is out. Literally having ice thrown at you. But number one, they relied on the run game. That was like Raheem Mostert's, oh my God, he could be our number one back. That was his like, whoa, coming out party right there. And then when you played them again the second time, you had a rookie quarterback, so it forced you to create a good game plan around the run game. So I don't think it's any coincidence that the Dolphins, when they play in the cold, now the Ravens game, I will die on the sword that I don't care. The offense couldn't have done anything to win that game. Your defense gave up 56 points. You're not going to win that game. It's over. The offense should have played much better, but the defense was just a catastrophe. However, again, I think this will be one of those games like the game we saw in Buffalo last year during the regular season, where freezing, snow, ice, and they went out there. They had a run game, a lot of I formation, like a lot of 12 personnel sets, and they just powered the football. And to me, that is going to be the key to this game. If your decision is to go out there and say, we're going to throw the football over the yard to show off Tyreek into in a playoff game, you are going to be watching the rest of the playoffs like me and you from your couch. So we shall see, but I don't think it's a coincidence that the closest games we've played with Buffalo both came when we needed to have a good game plan.
And another thing to me, this game, like, the Chiefs have obviously they've been dynamite in the playoffs at home. But that's because, like, partially because of the fans. And the fans, I think, are taken out of the equation just due to the weather again. So, like, I don't really think, like, I'm not really giving the Chiefs too much of a home field edge for this. I think this is, like, just going to be a pretty low variance game, like, just because of the weather. The style of football that, like, is going to be forced to be played. Like,
right.
Those Chiefs receivers are already questionable at best. And then you're going to make it cold for them. Like, I cannot see how Andy Reid is going to be confident in throwing the football here in this game. Isaiah Pacheco is going to be, like, obviously the main person you got to worry about in this game.
Him and Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah. I think this is going to be just a run-heavy game, and the Dolphins' rush offense against the Chiefs' rush defense should be advantage Dolphins. So you would think McDaniel should be able to identify that easily and be able to commit to that. The concern, again, it's just, I think if either team gets down by multiple scores in this game, it could just be good night already. Like,
right.
if you get down early with how throwing the football should be in these conditions, it's going to be a very difficult task to come back. And I'm not saying that I think the Dolphins should run it, but you got to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers still. Like, you have to find creative ways to get Waddle and Tyreek the ball.
Agreed.
I think this it's a lot easier said than done. Me and you are just sitting here saying it, and I think they know this. Like, all these guys on staff are well aware that they have to do this. Can they just go out and execute? Like, it's as simple as that. And
I was looking at the first and second team All Pro list came out. The only player to make it was Tyreek Hill, was a first team All Pro wide receiver. 2 quarterbacks. First team was Lamar. Second team was Dak Prescott.
Okay. But yeah, and then I kind of want to talk about now, I guess, what you kind of just want to see in terms of organizationally growth in this game. This is a second year in the row in the playoffs. I mean, both years, last year and this year, you dealt a pretty bad hand. Last year, you obviously don't have your starting quarterback, and you fight to the death. I mean, I remember watching that game. I was jumping out of my seat thinking we were going to pull it off, and got a chance to. We had the ball to go win the game, and can't get the play in on 4th down. That's so frustrating. Yeah. Like, I think now everyone's at a point where they're not. McDaniel is, like, he's got some. I don't know if doubters are the right word now, but, like, there's no more excuses. Like if he was unable to get a play in on 4th down at the end of the game this year, boy, would he just get like towards, like, I think that's sort of the growth we've had. For me, just as in a playoff game, like what would I like to see different from last year? I'd like to see the offense just show up. You had Skylar Thompson this year, and traditionally I give a pass to QBs in their first game in the playoffs, just because historically when it's your first time in the playoffs, you put up a stinker. I mean, even Trevor Lawrence, what in the first half was one of the worst first half we've ever seen, and then somehow just the Chargers chargered. But you will see time after time quarterbacks in their first playoff game that the lights are too bright. I'd like to say that I thought Tua was kind of a big time player. Like he came in the national championship. He's had his moments, but in this game, I'd like to see a game plan that's favorable for him. Don't ask him to do too much. Like not only on top of the weather, but this is his first time in the playoffs. Like you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware that the pressure it's going to get to him. I mean, it seems like when the chips are on the line recently, he hasn't risen to the occasion. This is a chance to do it. I mean, he's not going to win every game, but this would be one that'd be a positive step to sort of fixing the narrative and all these things that have started here recently in these past few weeks.
Yeah, well, first off, we got to, as a fan base, stop with the Tua came in 2000. Like in 2018, I was like, that was 6 years ago. What are we doing here? Like, I understand, but that was in college. I'm not trying to say to take away from him, but like Josh Allen sucked in college and he's fantastic now. Patrick Mahomes, no, he was never even in a national championship and he has 2 Super Bowls. So like, I hate when people are like, Tua is clutch because he threw a bomb on, 2nd and 26 in the national championship game. Like, we need to stop with that. You know how you're going to prove he's clutch? Winning against good teams. His record is 2-5 right now. So the jury's still out there. And I'm not trying to say that towards you because I think you would probably agree with my sentiment. You're just bringing up that you and I, everyone is always like he's clutch because of that. It's like, yeah, he also went to the national championship again and got benched. So
I was using that more of it as an example.
I agree. Yeah,
and rise to the occasion, and we need to see
it 100%, and I agree with that 100%. For me as a Dolphin fan, I need to see that you belong in the playoffs. It's as simple as that, and there's no way it looks. There's no shape, and it can be however it is. But if you go out there and get your ass kicked, what's the difference between this and 2008? What's the difference between this and 2016? What's the difference really even last year? Last year was the first year that I was like, oh my God, like we belong. With Skylar Thompson, we almost beat the Bills. Like that's what I thought we were going to get in year 2 of McDaniel. And especially now with the last 2 games, the way they've gone where, yeah, they're not like, to me, the ultimate must win is win or go home. So it's not a win or go home, but a lot is on the line and you crap the bed, everyone involved. So I need to see top to bottom as an organization that you belong. Mike McDaniel, I need to see that like you're more than an offensive coordinator because right now the jury is out on you. And in my opinion, based off of what I saw year 1, the issues that have lingered into year 2, my thought is he might just be a great offensive mind that needs to get, and I will throw this suggestion out there right now, and I'm going to definitely talk about it more in the offseason. It might not happen and probably won't, but part of me is wondering if he should just be the head coach. He should design the plays because he's a sensational play designer. He has such creative ideas, but it's no coincidence that when he was in San Francisco, Kyle was the one calling plays. So would I be upset if he designed the plays and then someone like Darrell Bevell, if Frank Smith leaves, calls the plays because he has experience doing it and is more disciplined? I wouldn't be upset with that. But Mike McDaniel, like I need to see that you are going to be like a smart head coach when it comes game time.
So just to kind of, because I want to just talk about that. What's funny to me, it's not going to happen, but I think ideally for him right now, the best thing to do would be just be the play caller. Like he'd be a fantastic offensive coordinator in my mind. but he's got too much on his plate, like in my opinion. And it's suffering in both ends. Like you could see it suffering as play calling, and you could see it suffering as a head coach. They're taken away from each other, and obviously you're not going to demote him to OC and bring in someone else to be a head coach. But yeah, I agree with you. Like something needs to change because it's been multiple years now. Like we've seen it, and what's happening, it's not okay. Like, and are we going to do the same? We're just going to do the same thing again next year, and then we're going to come to a point. Well, now we know for sure, but I mean, then we just basically wasted another year. It feels like if we don't see some like growth in this playoff game.
Right. But point is, I need to see he belongs. I mean, you're going against Andy Reid, who, for my money, is the best coach in football right now, not named Kyle Shanahan. So you need to go out there and prove you belong. And I think in the biggest moments, we talk about Tua, obviously. But I think recently, rightfully so, we've been talking a lot more about Mike McDaniel, because he's kind of just, again, he's crapped the bed in big moments. Like the first play of last week's game was a legal man downfield. What are we doing here? It's the first play of the effing game, and you are doing an RPO. Like, what are you doing? And then the second play was a 16-yard run by Devon Achane. That's stupid. Okay. When was it? When I forget when it was, but it was like, I think at the end of the game, Tyreek Hill caught the pass that got overturned. Stuff like that. And Big O talked about it on his show too. No hurry. Like, what are we doing here? It's just, this team is never prepared. And that is 100% on Mike McDaniel. So I need to see you're prepared, right? There's a play where you think it might be a fumble. You shouldn't be going into the huddle. What are you doing? Why are you getting in a huddle right now? And that's an awareness from Tua too. Tua, to me, and we'll get into it now as I shift to you, Tua needs to prove he belongs. Tua, to me, right now is kind of just along for the ride. And the ride is fantastic because when it's going well, he does very well. And if everything is okay around him, he's good to go. But to me, like, dude, I need to see you do something. I need to see you put the team on your back. I need to see the awareness from you. And we'll talk about it when we get into the game plan. But to me, it's kind of just like they gave him a paint by numbers, and like he can do the paint by numbers so fast. He'll do it perfectly to where you're like, oh my God, it looks like a real painting. No, I need to see you like create a painting. I need to see you do it yourself. And it's stuff like that where I understand Mike McDaniel's in your ear, and situations like that, he should be saying, go clock it. Tua needs to have that fire, that awareness. And to me, I'm just being honest, when I watch him play, it just looks like steady Eddie. And I get that, and I believe he has that fire in him. But that's why I was saying last week, like in big situations like this game, I need to see you say, you know what, McDaniel, like in the most respectful way, F you, this is not going to work. Okay, they're playing too high safety. I'm not going to throw the ball to the same area of the field that we've always been doing. I'm going to check out of it, and we're running the damn football. Like, that's what I need from Tua. I need a little F you, I know what's going on mentality. I need that fire. I need that, not diva, but I need that, like, I'm not just going to sit by and just go along for the ride mentality for my quarterback. And that's what I've seen from Tua. He's just kind of there. And because of his accuracy, anticipation, it's great. But then when everything goes wrong, there's no fire or like, oh man, like I got to fix this. It's just, nope, I'll go back out and let's try to keep going. And if my receivers aren't open, I need to see that. I need to see I'm going to put this team on my back when things aren't going right, if they're not going right, and will them to victory. And we're going to see that from Mahomes most likely. And for me, for Tua, like, again, realistically, I'm going to ask this question, and I don't know if you want to talk about it. If he loses this game, what has separated him from Justin Herbert? Because everyone, including myself, comes on this podcast all the time if he's brought up and says 50 million, whatever he got, is a ludicrous for a guy that's never won a playoff game and is not clutch in the slightest. So if Tua goes out there and doesn't play well and just kind of skates by and we lose, he's going to get 50 million. Everyone better be ready for it. So he's going to get it. But I guess because he wears aqua and orange, we're going to sit here and be like, that's great for him. No, like if that happens, he's Justin Herbert. There's no difference. I don't care what he did in college. So for me, I need to see fire from Tua. I need him to go out there and will a team not to victory, because again, there might be things out of his control, but I need to see more of a energy and more of a
sense of
urgency, because right now, and this is something that was brought up by a podcast I listen to. I'm not going to name the name of it. It's a national podcast, but people have a bad taste in their mouth with it because of a certain person on there. But I wonder if it's a little too comfortable in Miami. I wonder if it's a little too comfortable. And I think it 100% is with McDaniel. And that's what I'm saying in this game, to where like I need to see or I apologize. I don't know if we still have Joel, type in the message like if we're allowed to every now and then let one rip. But like shit's not okay. We're about to go home. Okay. It's not all laughs and jokes and high fives with McDaniel and acting like Tua no-look pass in practice is the greatest thing you've ever seen. Like, let's like focus. Like, how about we shut the you-know-what up and let's put our heads down and work. And if you're Tua, it's not time to laugh. It's not time to be comfortable. It's time to get your ass in check, because you're the quarterback of a professional football team and we need you. And he's capable of it. That's what's annoying, is that I wouldn't demand this if he wasn't capable. I know Tua is capable of going out there and willing this team. I know Tua is capable of going out and beating Patrick Mahomes, but I need to see it. In order for me to sit here every week next year and tell the fans that I believe in my quarterback, I need to see him do it, because I know he can.
So for me, like genuinely, and I get there's injuries and that's, built in. But like Chris Grier has been given so much. Like, what other GM has had first round picks that they've been willing to dish? They get this guy, they do this, and what do we have to show for it? Two wild card appearances, like that's with all the resources that we've had at our disposal.
Right.
2 wild card appearances, like, and if we win, then okay, we won a game. I'm willing to go to next year with what we have, and I will let you continue to work, but this is not acceptable. Like, the state of this roster at the moment, like, I get injuries happen, but when you continue to get these guys that are like proven, just had to have injury histories and stuff, eventually there comes a point where it's not a coincidence anymore that all these guys are getting hurt. And I have serious questions about like Chris Grier, and I've had them since he was hired. And then he goes out and makes these big moves, and they're awesome. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that when we got Tyreek, I wasn't over the moon. Like, that was something I never thought was a remote possibility.
Boom or bust. It's boom or bust. His highs are high and his lows are lows. Yeah.
Exactly. And I wanted Tua personally and everything, but like eventually the results matter. Like the process, like the process is more important in my mind. But then at the end of the day, in this world, you are what your results are, and the results have not been good enough under Chris Grier. And I would like to see someone come in, honestly, and evaluate everything we had, because there's so many guys that are up for contracts that are going to get multi-year extensions. And if you just say we're comfortable with what's going on, we think we're building to something better, we're eventually going to meet that goal of a Super Bowl, and we want to extend these guys, we could be sitting here in a couple years exactly where we were with Ryan Tannehill, where it's like the only difference would be we're making wild card appearances.
Yeah.
But the other teams are going to catch up to you. Like, this might be the best Dolphins roster we see, because
for a long time. For a long time.
And look, the injuries happen, but like you are what your results are. Like you said, I really kind of have gotten that vibe the past few weeks, and maybe that's also because this is the first time they've won 11 games in forever.
Higher expectations than normal.
The expectations are the expectations were Super Bowl, and let's be honest, I don't think we're going to meet that. It just seems comfortable. Like, it seems like everyone is comfortable. Like, it doesn't feel like anyone's really like job is on the line, and
right.
Honestly, what's funny to me, and this is just sort of super off topic, but like Christian Wilkins stepped up to the plate this year, and did he prove that he's worth what he's asking for? No, but he definitely proved that he has the right to come to the table
to ask for it.
and ask for it. And I don't think he's going to go anywhere, honestly. But that's like what you want to see. Like, did Tua step up and say that, hey, I'm a $50 million guy? Did Chris Greer step up and say, I proved that should be here for years to come, and I'm going to build a sustained winner in Miami? Did Mike McDaniel prove that, without a doubt, that he's going to be the head coach for the future in this year with this roster? Like, you should be able to. If you give this roster to Andy Reid, I would expect them to be 2-loss, like maybe.
Yeah.
This is such a good team on paper.
Yeah.
And it's going to fall short of expectations, I think, even if they win this week.
Well, even with injuries, I kind of threw away after the Tennessee game, I threw away the Super Bowl team. And I talked about it on this podcast. And you had too. But to me, what took me from this is not a Super Bowl team to this is not even an AFC championship contender was the coaching and the play from Tua. The injuries is what took me from, hey, we're probably not going to hit a Super Bowl because it's going to be hard even with good coaching. However, I just think that because of the coaching that I've seen and some of the question marks I have now with Tua and McDaniel, that I don't know how deep of a playoff run we can make. But I know you both have to get out of here soon, so I'm going to open up the injury report real quick. So really the only injury I wanted to mention, I know that Xavier Howard's out. We all knew that. Do not be shocked based off of, things. Neil Driscoll had talked about this on Fin Too Deep with Reason. I don't expect Javon Holland to play in this game, and I was going to mention that, but I was like, I don't know. Let me just wait it out and hear what I don't think he's playing in this game. It's been disappointing what's gone on with him with his injury. If we're being honest, let's not act like he's Kyle Hamilton. Javon Holland is, again, to act like he's a top 5 safety in the NFL this year is ludicrous. But anyway,
safety with him.
Right. So again, I don't think it's a huge loss, to be honest. And I'm not blaming the injury. I'm not saying it's his fault that he's injured. He's dealing with significant injury. So, that's just a shame, but I really think it's more important probably for Deshaun Elliott to be in there just as far as what this game is going to ask for. Not super high flying offense, but aside from that, probably Jalen and Raheem are going to go. It's going to be good to have the full backfield. And then with the Chiefs, again, a lot of names on there for no reason because only one guy's going to be out and I expect the other 2 to play. So nothing really crazy with the injury report. I just hope guys on both teams don't get injured during the game because whoever is moving on, you don't want to have significant injury. And that's what I worry about for both teams because of the weather. But
I definitely,
anyway, we can get to the 3 keys. I'll pull them up. I just want to I'll power through mine real quick before I shift it over to you. It'll probably be better than going 1 and 1. First one, I don't need to talk about a lot. Run the damn ball. It's really, to me, every single week since the Titans week, I have been saying that the Dolphins are played every week by defensive coordinators through the pass game. Every team goes against the Dolphins and says, we're going to play for the pass, and they are not going to be diligent enough with the run. You need to run the football. All of your running backs are going to be there. All of your running backs are going to be ready. You have a quarterback that it's not great for him to be playing in super cold weather versus other quarterbacks who have stronger arms naturally. Your game plan should not be to throw the football. Run the football. Do not get impatient with it. And also, when I say run the football, I don't just mean run the football regardless. I'm saying run the football because teams are playing you with 2 high safeties so much. If they're stacking the box, okay, throw the football. And it kind of leads to my third point, but you need to run the football against the Bills when they're still playing pass defense and you just decide, hey, we're going to throw the football now. It's no, they're still playing pass. Run the damn football. Devon Achane ran for 800 yards this season, and he only played realistically full snaps in 9 games. It's ridiculous to not use him and Raheem Mostert, okay? Number 2, we both have it, but special teams, our special teams unit is god-awful. Danny Crossman won't be here next year. I put a tweet out about how it compares to other good special team coordinators like Darren Rizzi, who was with the Dolphins. I mean, our punt return, we average like 7 yards more than the Saints who with Darren Rizzi. Kickoff return, we average like 12 yards more per return. It's just horrible. And special teams, I think in this game between punts and field goals is going to be huge. So they need to have a big game. And then number 3, this is something, again, listen to on a different podcast, national media podcast. Not going to say the name because people hate them for some reason. And maybe understandably so, because some stuff they say is eh. But the Dolphins need to start like recognizing what the hell the other defense is doing before the snap. Because right now they're just like, hey, we called a cool play. Let's run it regardless. And that's where I'm saying I need Tua to go out there and recognize what the hell the other team's doing and change it up. Because they all the time, and this was something that was brought up that I was like, I wonder if that's true. So I went back and rewatched it. So often they just run the motion and they don't like do a hard count or anything. You need to see what the other team's doing. And if you do a hard count and use the motion and the other team is disguising too high safety and they drop back that safety into it, okay, check to run, or vice versa, check to pass. But you need to dictate more so what that other team is doing on defense. And you need to use more hard counts. And I don't think the Dolphins do enough of it. And so really it's all offense, because defensively, between the injuries and then the lack of weapons on Kelce, I don't think that there's really much there that's going to be huge impact on this game.
Yeah, that's a good point about the snap count. And I believe like Tua can read coverage very well, like pre-snap. So and he with his anticipation, like it is something they should try to take advantage of. And hopefully they do. And I think that kind of leads into my point here, like simplifying the offense here. Like these quick motions and stuff, they're nice, but not only does it seem like most teams have kind of figured it out to a certain degree, but with the cold and weather, like just play simple football, like execute what you can, do the right things. Like don't try to get complicated here. If you're going to plan to just have an all out passing attack or do some creative stuff that no one's seen before in this weather, like odds are it's not going to work. Like just do what works. Like if the pitch play is getting 5 yards of carry, or run it until they stop. Like
exactly.
This does not need to be a complicated game. This doesn't need to be one where you need to outsmart Andy Reid and outduel Patrick Mahomes, who's going to throw for 500 yards. Like the team that's going to win this game is just whoever makes the least mistakes. And that's why I have special teams on there. With this weather, it's not going to be snowing. It's not going to be sleet, but it's going to be windy. Like there's going to be, I think, plenty of punting in this game. And you don't want to see a block punt, a dropped punt, a punt that goes 5 yards. You want to see it for the other team. So if you can clean up the special teams errors, no missed kicks, all that, like that's going to matter in this game. Because again, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And to your point, like Danny Crossman, it has to be the first name out the door once the season is over. Anyone but him at this point.
100%.
It's a lot. I think we were saying this last, or at least I was saying this last year. I was shocked they retained.
Shocked.
Yeah,
shocked. Yeah.
And look where it's gotten us. I cannot believe they did that. Still, but to digress, being on the right side of big plays, I think they're going to be few and far between in this game. Like a blocked kick, a missed field goal, as we'll see when we shift the score here. But yeah, like I don't see there being many explosive plays in this game just because of the circumstances. Like the few big plays there are, you cannot be on the wrong side of a fumble going into your own end zone at the 10-yard line that they take to the house, like in the Germany game. You just can't. If that happens, you're packing your bags, you're going home. And you never can be on the side with Patrick Mahomes because they're so lethal. But I think even this game, like it's not even like you're playing Patrick Mahomes. You're playing just the cold. Like it doesn't matter who you're playing. This game is going to be a difficult game. And and if anything, final point on that, if the Chiefs get the ball with like 7 minutes left, I think they're going to go down and just milk the clock here. But yeah, that kind of just leads into my score. If you want to pull that up, and I'll just go mine and then kick it to you. Oh, wow. I have the Chiefs winning. I think this is going to come down to a last-second field goal, and I just have the Dolphins missing it. That's how I envision this in my mind with my score prediction here. But I totally, on the flip side, it could go in, the field goal, and then it'd be the Dolphins winning. But yeah, I mean, I think you're also spot on that this is going to be a game within a field goal, lower scoring, and it's going to come down to just who can outlast each other in the cold. Like it's honestly, I feel it really does. If I'm not making it seem that way, we're playing the cold this week. We're not playing the Chiefs.
Yeah, look, I feel real quick. I just want to go back to this to show the the whole what was it? The simplifying offense that you talked about. Like to me, and this is going to be huge on McDaniel. I love that you put that because like I wouldn't put like simplify, but you need to be less predictable in offense. And to me, this offense is so predictable. And I love that you said, like, if the toss is working every time, do it until they stop it. Like, I don't understand why he just gets away from it. And so I just wanted to mention that point. I liked what you said. I redeemed myself, I feel like, because last week I picked the Bills. To be honest with you, I feel better about this game than the Bills. I said this a long time, regardless of the weather. If you think it's going to be easier to beat the Bills 2 times in a row than beat the Kansas City Chiefs, then I don't know. You're just prideful because you want to see a home playoff game, which I 100% understand. However, I've been a Dolphin fan since 2007. I've seen a home playoff game before, never seen us win one. And that's what I care more about. I want to see the Dolphins win a playoff game. I actually feel good about this matchup. What I love about the score, real quick, is that you and I picked the same score for Miami. Here's my difference. I don't think that the Chiefs are going to get that field goal at the end. And I think that the 16 points from Miami is going to come off of 2 touchdowns, one of which they're not going to kick the extra point, and then we're going to kick that field goal. So it's going to be like 7. We have 7 points go down, miss the extra point where it's blocked. Then it's 16 or 13, and then we're going to get that field goal. But you and I both see it low scoring. And at the end of the day, look, like, again, I feel better about this game than I did the Baltimore game. I feel better about this game than I did the Buffalo game. I have a good feeling, and I think we can win. But at the end of the day, like with all these losses, it is 100% up to them because this is a Kansas City team that can be had. And quite honestly, for the next 4 or 5 years, it's probably not going to get worse than this. This is the worst you're probably going to see them for a long time, and they know that. So take advantage while you can. I know it's a long road ahead, but let's just win one game at a time. I think with the stakes on the line, we saw last year, stakes on the line, must-win game. With Skylar Thompson, they pulled out everything and they put out a good game plan. I think Mike McDaniel does that in this game, and at least for one more week, they kind of silence some of the haters, like not haters, but critics like you and I, maybe 16-14 Dolphins victory.
Yeah, and I'll kind of just give my final wrap up little speech here. It's funny, we didn't even mention that they're defending Super Bowl champs, and we're gonna, if you go out and win this game, you just took down the Super Bowl champs
in their stadium. Like I think Neil Driscoll talked about this. The amount of narratives that will be canceled if you win this game. 100%. Beat a good team away, cold weather, big moment. So many narratives could just be taken care of if you go win this game, and it's there for you. Again, regardless of how bad the last 2 weeks have been, it's there for you right now.
And as you know, with Dolphins fans, we do have short memories. So I guarantee you, they just go out and win this game. Not all is forgiven, but for a lot of people, all will be forgiven. They will have their videos. Everyone will be ready to just torch some people on the internet if the Dolphins do win this game. But yeah, I mean, bottom line, if nothing else, just find a way to win this game, man. We haven't won a playoff game in 24 years. Okay. I want to see one in my life. Every year, it just feels like is this ever even going to happen? Like a playoff win, let alone a Super Bowl. So let's step one, just go out, make us proud, make us Dolphins fans proud here. This is an impossible set of circumstances with the 3rd coldest game in NFL history, possibly the defending Super Bowl champs, all the narratives stacked against you, the injuries that this team has dealt with, everything. And you could go out there and you step up to the plate and you shut everyone up. That's what, as a fan, what more can you ask for your team doing that? to, in the face of adversity, when their back's against the wall, they come out and show up and prove everyone wrong. That's what I'm hoping for. I'll be rooting for everything I have. I will be living and dying in this game, even though I did predict the loss, but I will be over the moon, if they win, and then during the game, living and dying, emotions.
You pick what you think's going to happen, but you and I are both, again, I said this, you and I both always want the Dolphins to win. We are just, as people who come on here and try to give good opinions or good advice, you're going to go with what your mind is telling you, but don't ever mistake that as we don't want the Dolphins to win.
Yeah, I still don't trust Jason Sanders is my bottom line here. But
you go out there and prove us all wrong.
If he does it today, I will officially be on the Jason Sanders train. Here I will, for the record right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
all right.
I hope we are doing a recap here for the good next week. We will see what time that is in day. But this is it, guys. Playoff game. Here we are, another year in the playoffs. That's a positive step. Let's go take another. From us at Dolphins versus World, please like, share, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support, and fins up.
Fins up.